At Healthcare Partners Medical Group, our mission is to provide the highest quality of healthcare to each and every patient. With 5 locations in Pahrump, we are local doctors you know and trust. We want to thank you for choosing us. Quality care starts here.
You're watching KPVM News 46. Weekend Review. With Deanna O'Donnell. And Jason Koblenz.
Welcome to News 46's Weekend Review, your #1 source for local news. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Jason Koblenz.
Last Friday night, a horrific accident occurred on Linda Street. A 36-year-old man named Paul Navarro was struck and killed by a vehicle. It was around 10 o'clock on Friday night when a vehicle traveling northbound on Linda Street struck a man who was reportedly lying on the busy stretch of road. The man, who was killed instantly, suffered major injuries after being struck, then apparently dragged by the vehicle. Nye County Sheriff's deputies, detectives, and Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue's Engine 1 all responded to the scene on Linda and Morgan Streets. The male victim appears to be in his mid-20s to early 30s. Linda Street was closed to through traffic during the investigation. Deputies spoke to the distraught driver and passengers who were inside the vehicle that struck the man. They reported that he was lying on the dark street when the accident occurred. No one inside the vehicle reported any injury. Nye County Sheriff's Office dispatched a phlebotomist to the scene to conduct a blood draw from the victim to test for the possibility of intoxication. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
The Nye County Sheriff's Office issued a press release regarding Friday night's fatal accident on Linda Street.
On Friday, November 30th at approximately 9:30 p.m., the Nye County Sheriff's Office received a call from a 22-year-old Pahrump resident, Justin Cannon, who stated that he had just struck a person who had been lying in the roadway at Linda and Morgan Street. Upon arrival, sheriff's personnel determined that the individual who had been hit was deceased. The victim was identified as 36-year-old Paul Navarro of Pahrump. How and why Navarro was lying in the roadway is still under investigation. No further information is being released at this time pending completion of the medical examination. Traffic accident investigation by the Nye County Sheriff's Office. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
It is getting darker earlier in the evening. A lot more drivers are out on the roadways. A lot more pedestrians are too. Please be safe when walking outside at night. Here are a couple of tips. Use a flashlight so drivers can see you. The money you invest is just a couple of dollars and can save your life. Don't wear dark clothing. If you can, wear reflective clothing. Stay away from the roadway. We know it is hard to walk in the dirt and rocks, but drivers can't see you when they are driving down the street until it's too late. Drivers, please be extra careful when driving. Stay away from the shoulder as much as possible. KPVM has had numerous reports of people walking close to the road and nearly being struck by a vehicle.
That's some good advice there. The Nye County Sheriff's Office is still investigating the reason why Friday night's fatal accident victim was possibly lying in the roadway on Linda Street, which is a busy stretch of road. If in fact the victim had fallen or possibly decided to lie in the road, it had to have just occurred moments before he was struck and killed by a vehicle. Navarro was an inactive Marine and a talented musician who lived with his parents here in Pahrump. Apparently the victim, Paul Navarro, started a social networking site earlier this year. It showed his screen name as Deadman76. That was a band that Paul had years ago. It also listed one of his biggest fears as dying alone. A celebration of life service was held last week for Paul Navarro at Central Valley Baptist Church.
Friday night, 36-year-old Paul Navarro died on impact after being struck by a vehicle on Linda Street. His family speaks up about their loss of a child, a brother, and an ex-Marine who served his country proudly.
Yes, he had some car trouble, and we had taken the battery off the car to charge it, and he had worked 10 hours, and we dropped him off at the house at 5:30, and from what I hear, he got hit by a car at 9:30 p.m.
He works here at AmeriGas locally.
That's right. Yeah, he works here 5 to 7 days a week, depending on how often they need him.
He was a Marine. Let's talk about that.
Yes, he was with the Marine Corps. He actually was on the base the day of 9/11 at 29 Palms at that point. Yeah.
I know that you both are very proud of Paul, an accomplished musician as well. Let's talk about his personality. What was he like?
Paul was just a very happy, charismatic person. He was kind of a ham, you know, really friendly and could always start a conversation. I really loved music, so that's what he'd love to talk about most.
A little bit about some of the rumors that Paul was depressed, or people thought that he might have been depressed. You didn't see that in him at all, right?
No, you know, he had his things he was going through, but I think we all do. I think he was more just having a hard time adjusting to some changes in his life recently with an ex-girlfriend.
You're having a little bit of issue with the Marine Corps and paying for it. Why?
I believe that I can understand why they have their priorities. Their priorities are to help the Marines that have dependents. And since my son was not married and did not have any dependents, therefore there's less money available. He is allowed to be buried at any of the VA facilities, but as far as the cost, it's usually saved for the ones that have children.
What was it like to hear this news? What went through your head?
It was completely devastating. I mean, it's a call you don't really ever think you'll receive, and it's probably the worst news I've ever gotten in my entire life. And you know, the only thing I could think of was being here with my parents, and so luckily I was able to get a flight that morning.
How many siblings do you have?
Paul was the only brother that I had, and then just my parents.
A little bit about the investigation. What are you hearing right now?
Not a whole lot. At this point, I believe they tell me they're working on it. That's all I've heard. And all I'm waiting is for the signature on the medical examiner's paperwork, and so that we can continue and take him back home, take his ashes back home.
So once again, you guys are looking for some help. Hopefully people can donate to that Wells Fargo account. I can't tell you, none of us can imagine what you and your family is going through at this point.
You can directly donate to the Navarro family at Wells Fargo Bank. And the name of Sunday's fatal rollover accident has been released by Nevada Highway Patrol. The accident occurred on Sunday around 7 a.m. on Highway 160 in the Sandy Valley turnoff. Antonio Collin of Las Vegas was the right rear passenger, and he was declared deceased on scene by the coroner. The white Chevy pickup truck was traveling southbound on State Route Highway 160 in the number 2 travel lane. For reasons unknown, the driver lost control of the truck. When the truck hit the center median, it overturned. The right rear unrestrained passenger was ejected. 2 others who were restrained received minor injuries. Antoinette Bell, who is one of the victims of the Donner Street stabbings, was arrested on Monday with her mother and 1 other person for drug-related offenses.
23-year-old Antoinette Bell was stabbed over 20 times with 56-year-old Michael Frazier, who succumbed to the massive injuries that were the result of an alleged drug sales war between the victim and 6 defendants who have since been convicted of the crime that occurred on Donner Street on May 1st of 2011. Antoinette and her mother, Barbara Bell, and 1 other person, Michael Silva, have been taken into custody after Barbara Bell called detectives to her home to apparently report a crime. Assignment detectives responded to her residence and discovered her to be exhibiting signs of use of controlled substances. Nye County Sheriff's Office detectives observed the odor of marijuana within the residence and located Antoinette Bell and Michael Silva. Detectives found drug paraphernalia, methamphetamine, and a hydrocodone pill. Drug paraphernalia was still warm from the just occurred use, according to the press release. During interviews, detectives learned that all 3 of them had been smoking methamphetamine and marijuana inside the residence prior. Testing revealed that Barbara Bell was under the influence of methamphetamine and THC, marijuana, which is the same results expected from Antoinette Bell. Testing revealed that Michael Silva was also under the influence of methamphetamine, THC, marijuana, and MDMA, which has the street name of ecstasy. Barbara Bell was booked into the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center on $15,000 bail. Antoinette Bell and Michael Silva were booked into the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center on $25,637 bail. This is Deanne O'Donnell for News 46.
And we'll be right back with more of your News 46 Week in Review right after this.